So you've opened up the gates of hell and bought yourself a Eurorack case. You're probably on modular grid right now, planning your future investments as I speak. And a very important question arises. Should thou sequence in the case or out of the case? If you already own a hardware sequencer and are looking for the most affordable way to incorporate your Eurorack into your synth setup, then you might want to consider a MIDI to CV module. I've had the Erica MIDI to CV for a couple of years now and it's been great. There's other more feature-packed MIDI to CV converters out there, so do some research if that's the path you're going to take. What's wrong with me? If you decide, nah, I'm doing this, it's all or nothing, baby, everything in the case, sequencer, mixer, speaker, may God have mercy on your soul. You must then figure out how many modules you plan to sequence and how much HP you're willing to dedicate to sequencing. My Eurorack sequencer of choice is the Varigate 4 Plus. I've done plenty of videos on this channel about it. You guys know I love that little module. I understand that it's only 2 tracks and that might not be enough for some people, but so is the new IntelliGel Metropolis, and look at the size of that thing. The benefit of having a Eurorack sequencer inside of your case is that you could travel with a fully enclosed system and need a very little outside connections, and that appeals to many live performers. Like hardware sequencers, Eurorack sequencers come in all shapes, sizes, and price tags. Although they technically do the same thing, tell our synths and sound sources what notes to play and how to play them, Eurorack sequencers have a different, more hands-on approach than one can find on most hardware sequencers. By having individual control over pitch, gate, and other sound altering parameters, we can transform melodies with different time divisions, multiplications, gate repeats, and step lengths, all with just a move of a slider, knob, or touch plate. Although possible, this type of melodic structure would simply be too difficult to recreate using a hardware sequencer. To get the most out of your hardware sequencer, you're going to want to plug a MIDI keyboard into it. The octave or so that comes on board most sequencers just isn't enough for maximum expression. So if space is an issue or you're planning on building a fully enclosed system, then a Eurorack sequencer would make more sense. Currently, I think the Keystep Pro is probably the best sequencer to incorporate with Eurorack because of the built-in keyboard, and it's a pretty genius design. Look at all these outputs in pretty colors. I can't really think of any cons besides the fact that it works around 4 bars and I find it restricting for longer arrangements, but for the price, connectability, and functionality, this thing is a dream. I always wondered why something like this didn't exist and then boom, Arturia. Get out of my head. Oh wait, stay. For me, my Eurorack provides an escape from all these medieval arrangements. That's why I keep my Varigate 4 Plus around despite more advanced sequencing options. If I want linearity, I have other devices to give me that structure. If I want to get lost in the bleeps and blobs with no end in mind, then I gravitate towards my Eurorack. It's also important to note that most Eurorack sequencers are only Eurorack sequencers. They don't normally have MIDI out aside from a few exceptions. To use a hardware sequencer with your Eurorack setup, you'll need some type of MIDI to CV converter or a sequencer with CV and gate outputs. I feel like there's room for both, to be honest. The beauty of it is, you're guaranteed to get different results depending on the gear that you use, and I think that's pretty bonkers. Regardless of your sequencing choices, the best advice that I can give you is to stick to whatever it is you decide on, master it, and become a pro at it. That's it, guys. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. If you like what I do, consider becoming a patron. It means a lot. You get my music, downloads, sample packs, you name it. I also have a clothing store where I sell synthesizer swag that I draw myself, so check that out, it's in the description. I also just released a new album, Habit Garden, out on all the major platforms as well as on Bandcamp. I've also re-released some old tracks that I hadn't released. I guess it's not really re-released if it's never been released.